In this video, I'm going to talk about why relationships move so quickly in the Philippines and why you should exercise some caution when entering into one of these fast relationships. Stay tuned. Alright, so I'll start off by saying I did a video several months back. I don't remember exactly, maybe 6 months ago. And I was sitting in the mall and I was drinking a coffee and I was watching a guy, foreigner, meet a Filipina, and I could tell that I had a bird's eye view. I was on the second floor looking down, and I could see that they were both looking at their phones trying to figure out where each other, where they were so they could meet. And I saw them meet and I saw them shake their hand, and I'm literally sitting there maybe another 45 minutes, and I see them at that point holding hands and arm around each other, and I'm thinking, instant relationship, right? Only in the Philippines can you meet somebody and 45 minutes later you guys are holding hands. So now I don't know the whole story behind their meeting. Maybe they've chatted for a long time and they finally just met. I don't know. So I don't know the whole story, but I do find it even true for myself. Even when I first came out here, Filipinos will throw the word "I love you" out there, sometimes instantly in a conversation. You could chat with them for 30 minutes and all of a sudden "I love you" is thrown into the mix. So relationships tend to move pretty quickly here. Now, not all Filipinas, so I don't want to throw them all into one basket and say they all are like this. No, that's absolutely not true. But there is a large amount that do, and that's what I want to talk about. All right, so if a girl throws out "I love you" within first few minutes of the conversation, or even within a few days or whatever, personally I think that should be a warning sign, because most good Filipinas are not going to just do that right away. Most aren't going to say, are we official? Are we boyfriend, girlfriend? And I've had that before as well, and I'm sure many of you guys have had that too, where some girl will say, okay, so are we official now, and are we boyfriend, girlfriend? Personally, I think that's kind of crazy. Even being boyfriend, girlfriend after 6 months of chatting, I really think you got to have that face-to-face meeting before you can enter into some kind of relationship if you've only met online. Often when you come out to the Philippines, if you've been chatting with a Filipina online, they'll want to meet you right at the airport. And trust me, once they meet you at the airport, they won't lose sight of you. They're going to keep you locked down and locked into a relationship quickly, because they don't want somebody else to get to you. And I'm sure other guys have experienced this too. But yeah, they'll often want to meet you right at the airport and get you locked in and just stay with you the entire time. It's not uncommon for that to occur. And guys, feel free to comment and tell me your story on that as well. All right, so normally if a Filipina gets into a relationship or starts to date a Filipino guy, it's a much longer process. It kind of goes to like traditional courting here, which is the guy's coming over, meeting the family, he's bringing her small gifts, he's pursuing her, trying to get her to go out and date and become boyfriend, girlfriend, into a relationship. But that seems to go out the window when it's a foreigner, and I think the reason why is because they know they don't have as much time. Number one, you could be over here visiting and only here for 2 weeks. They know they don't have a whole lot of time for you to sit there and court them. Number two, you could be living here, but they feel like you're kind of a hot commodity and they want to grab onto you and hold on to you. So maybe they kind of throw out that traditional courting as well. But for example, if a Filipina girl starts a serious relationship with a Filipino guy, often it's kind of a lateral move. So let's say she gets serious and they end up getting married. Well, it's kind of a lateral move that either maybe he moves in with her and they live with her family, so living conditions don't change. Or she goes over and moves in with his family. Now, maybe the living conditions will go up a little bit, or maybe they're even worse. I don't know. Or it could be about the same. But there's not a huge climb up the ladder there. And with a foreigner, there's a lot more incentive to get into a relationship and move a lot quicker with us, because maybe the guy's staying in a nice house. He's got a condo with a pool, and he can take her out to dinners and take her traveling. So there's more of an incentive to move quicker into the relationship. That's my theory anyway. Again, these are just my personal opinions, guys. I'm not right or wrong. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. And from Filipinas, feel free to correct me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments down below. Tell me your opinions on it. But that's my opinion on it. I think with the Filipino guy, it's kind of a lateral move. There's no movement up the ladder really per se, the economic ladder. With the foreigner, there is, and therefore I think everything is sped up and faster in a relationship because they know they're getting much more out of it. So what am I trying to get at here? Well, basically, when you come out here for the first time or you're chatting with a girl online, you really got to force yourself to put on the brakes with these girls. And again, not all the girls. There's a lot of really, really good girls, but a lot that you will meet online are fast forwarding everything really quickly. They're throwing out the I love yous. If you're coming out to the Philippines, they want to meet you right at the airport. You got to slow this stuff down. You got to tell them right up front if they try to say I love you online, or hey, are we official? Am I your girlfriend? Put on the brakes and say, listen, it's not realistic that you love me after talking for one day. Nor do I want to enter into a relationship when I haven't even met you in person yet. Tell them to slow down. Here's my expectations. Once we meet and we find out if we have chemistry, then we can proceed. But yeah, you got to put on the brakes with some of these girls. The other thing is if they want to meet you at the airport. Now, for a lot of you guys, that may be great and it works out wonderfully, but I've heard a lot of stories where all of a sudden the girl is meeting the guy at the airport. She's got the whole family with them. They're going back to the hotel. They're all hanging out, and then they want him to take them all out to dinner. I say skip the airport meeting. Do it on your own terms. After a long trip, the last thing you really want to do is entertain a family or even her for that matter at this point. Get back to get to the hotel, freshen up, sleep, whatever, get over your jet lag. Arrange to meet the next day for coffee or something. Make it just a meeting where you could actually leave rather quickly if you needed to. Really no different than a first date. Just because you've been chatting online for 6 months, doing video calls, it doesn't mean you guys are going to be falling in love and getting married immediately. You could have no chemistry whatsoever. It's happened to plenty of guys here. They've spent all this time chatting with a girl, and then they meet her, and there's just no chemistry. And they're off to, trying to meet other girls because they spent all this time chatting with this one girl, and then there was no chemistry. So, or they're stuck with this one girl their entire trip because she kind of locked them in, So you just have to be careful. So yeah, you just need to slow everything down. And also, if you are living here, you also got to set yourself some ground rules. Listen, we'll date. We're going to go slow. You are not going to move in till at a 3-month mark or 6-month mark or whatever. You got to have to kind of set yourself some boundaries between her and you. And it's easy to get caught up in their beauty, and they're fun and they're charming, and you have a young girl and you're getting attention from her, and you didn't have that back in the States. A lot of times we also want to be the knight in shining armor, a girl who's perhaps from the province, maybe she lives in poverty a bit, and you want to come swooping in and save her. Well, guess what, guys? We all kind of want to feel like that, and in the West we don't get a chance to feel like that because American girls or Canadian girls or whatever are working and probably making the same income as we are. The other thing is we're just not used to the attention from a young, pretty girl. So all I'm saying here is be careful of these instant relationships. They move really quickly sometimes here in the Philippines. Put the brakes on. Don't let their youth and their beauty and their playfulness and their charming disposition get the best of you. Just slow things down and you'll be fine. So again, if you guys have questions, comments, let's have that conversation down below, and I will see you guys next time. By the way, if you want exclusive video content only found on my Patreon account on dating and marriage, it's my dating and marriage workshop. You can sign up for that down in the description with my Patreon account, and you guys can check out those videos. See you guys. Bye.